Hi guys, so in honor of it officially being fall, today's video is the finally fall book tag. Jumping into the questions, I have them all written down on a little piece of paper, and the first one says, in fall, the air is crisp and clean. Name a book with a vivid setting. So I have a few different books to mention here. I think Mistborn and Stormlight Archive, so Sanderson books, always end up having really vivid settings. With Stormlight Archive, you can just picture the Shattered Plains so well, or at least I can. I think it helps that I live somewhere very hot and it almost feels like where I live. In Mistborn, I think weirdly, even though Stormlight Archive is giant and it's so epic and the setting really is described really well, Mistborn just feels so real to me. The way that Luthadel is described, the ash, the red tint of the sunlight, the fact that everything is brown and dead looking and dirty, all of that with the spires of Creedic Shaw and the ballrooms, the stained glass windows. I mean, it's just so well described. I also think that Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, I think Leigh Bardugo did a really good job describing Ketterdam. It just, the way that she describes it, to me, it feels more tangible than a lot of other stories because she describes not just the way things feel, but I mean, it seems like something that exists. It's like she described a real place that she went to, because she describes the smells and the food and smells and food. I mean, that's a huge part of a setting that often gets overlooked because usually it's about what things look like, which she does a really good job of doing that too. I also want to add that the book Burial Rites, which is a historical fiction book about the last woman to be buried, not buried, the last woman to be executed in Iceland. I sure hope they bury people there. They're not just like littering bodies everywhere. That book had an incredibly vivid setting. However, I'm definitely biased because I read the book when I went to Iceland, so I was reading it and I felt everything, and then I look outside and I could just step out of the van that we were taking our road trip in, but it was really well described. The next question is, nature is beautiful but also dying. Name a book that is beautifully written but deals with a heavy topic like loss or grief. I feel like this question was designed to have the answer be Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor, and the sequel, of course. They're both Muse of Nightmares is also beautifully written. But I'm not even necessarily a fan of super pretty writing, just because I tend to prefer a more direct writing style. And she definitely goes all out with her similes and metaphors, and the kind of more hyperbolic way of describing things, always so dramatic, and it's always pretty though. That's not normally my thing, but it is very pretty, and this story definitely tackles some really heavy things. It gets very dark and quite morbid, but I love it. Question number 3 says, fall is back to school season. Name a book that taught you something new. I do really enjoy historical fiction, even though I don't get around to it very often. And obviously when you're reading historical fiction, you have to read it knowing that a lot of it is fiction, but often when I read it, I'm like, is that true? And then I'll want to go look up the stuff I'm reading about. And anytime I read a Viking story, that happens. And so a few would be Vinland Saga, which is amazing. I've told you guys that I'm pretty much gonna talk about it any chance I get, because you guys need to watch the anime that's come out and read the manga. It is so good. Oh my gosh. The same can be said for the Strongbow Saga by Judson Roberts. This is an extremely unknown series, and I've never really heard other people talk about it, but it's so good. If you like Viking stories, but you're looking for one that maybe isn't as graphic and violent, this is a really good one. The next question says, in order to keep warm, it's good to spend some time with people you love. Name a fictional family or friend group you'd like to be a part of. All right, I know I already listed Stormlight Archive as an answer, but come on, who doesn't want to be a part of Bridge 4? I don't want to be a part of Bridge 4 while they're doing Bridge 4 stuff, which is running with hardly any clothes on, no armor, no weapons, bridges on their backs, and they're super exhausted and they have arrows coming at them. I mean, I don't want to do that. I just want to hang with them, and I want them to make me feel like I'm a part of their group, because they're the best. And I want to eat Rock's stew. It sounds delicious. I know I also mentioned Six of Crows already, but Inej is so cool that I just want to be friends with her. She's so mysterious and talented, but compassionate and just awesome. I just want to hang with her. And then when I'm feeling like eating yummy food, I'll be like, hey Nina, where are the best places to hit up for some yummy food? Because she loves food, and we can go get pastries together. And Wylan is musical, and I majored in music, so we can jam together. And then the last kind of friendship group, I don't really know if it's a friendship, if that's the best way to put it, but the Howlers in the Red Rising series. I don't want to do the initiation to be a part of the Howlers because it's gross, and if I remember correctly, they have to eat bugs or something disgusting, and one of the characters hides inside a dead horse at one point. Like, I don't want to do the gross stuff. I just want to be friends with those people. I don't want to do the stuff that they have to do, though. The next question says, the colorful leaves are piling up on the ground, which is so not true where I live, but I understand the concept. But it says, show us a fall stack of books. I can't talk. I wrote it down and I paraphrased it and then I forgot. So I was trying to read what I wrote and I'm not doing a good job. Basically, show a stack of books where the spines are fall colors. Okay, so we have Oathbringer, Words of Radiance, Crown of Feathers by Nikki Pao-Preto, which is kind of like it's got the Mulan trope, but then with phoenixes. It's a really fun story. And then Muse of Nightmares by Laini Taylor. I just thought they've got the great kind of orangey, reddish, and that mustard yellow coloring. But then, I know this is not important, nobody really cares that much, but tell me what you guys think. Does this green of Descendant of the Crane by Joan He, does that add to it? Do you think it makes it better? Do you think it makes it look too Christmassy? The next question says, fall is the perfect time for storytelling by the fire. Share a book where someone is telling a story. I feel like that's every first person book, but I think it's somebody is very much being like, oh, you're about to go on an adventure, those kinds of narratives. So The Book Thief is a story by Marcus Suzak in which death is telling the story. I think that's extremely unique. And I definitely need to reread that book because it was very good. The next question says, the nights are getting darker and earlier. What is a dark, creepy read? And I don't read a lot of creepy stuff because I am a total wimp, but I've been chatting up a lot. I've been really amping up and hyping House of Salt and Sorrows, and that story is by Aaron A. Craig, and it's a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling. It was creepy. It was a hybrid of, I would say, fantasy and horror, and I know I'm a wimp, but my friend Jade from Bedtime Bookworm, she does read a good amount of horror and thrillers and those kinds of stories, and we happen to have both been reading it at the same time, so I would message her and chat with her about it, and I was like, is it just me? Is it just because I'm a wimp? Or what? Because this feels creepy. And she was like, no, it's got some creepy stuff in it. So I really enjoyed that story, and it gave me the heebie-jeebies. The next question says, the days are getting colder. Name a short, heartwarming read. When I was a kid, I had a West Highland White Terrier. And for those of you who have never seen those little dogs, they are very sweet. They look like little old men, and they're the kind of dogs that get cuter. When they're puppies, they're cute, but they're cuter as grown-up dogs. And he was the sweetest little thing. He was very kind of sassy and very protective of me. And he was just so adorable. And he had the Napoleon complex where he didn't realize he was small and just thought he could take on horses and stuff. So I have always been very partial to this one series called Macduff. It was this picture book, a series that I read as a kid because it had a little Westie in it. And I was like, it's a Buster dog, because that was his name, Buster. And so whenever I saw those Macduff books, I was like, it's a Buster dog, I have to read it. And they were always so cute. They were very precious. I have fond memories of the Macduff books. The next one says, fall returns every year. Name an old favorite that you'd like to return to soon. I am planning, I'm going to be rereading the Stormlight Archive series. I don't know if that counts as an old favorite because I read them last year, so I suppose it's not super old. I mentioned the Strongbow Saga. I really love those. I would love to reread those, although I know I'm not going to get to them soon. I also really love the Bardmas trilogy, and it's a middle grade series. I really love it. For those of you that love Sorcery of Thorns, I definitely recommend checking this one out because it has a similar feel to it. The setting and the magic and everything is very similar. So I'll go ahead and say Strongbow Saga and Barnabas Trilogy. The last one says, fall is the perfect time for cozy reading nights. Share your favorite cozy reading accessories. So when my book, Peace and Turmoil, was released, Karina from Bookish Babbles, you guys should all definitely check out. She's delightful. She happened to have read the book before it came out, and she loved it, and her and a bunch of beta readers, they kind of sent me this really sweet book birthday package, and with it they sent the coziest blanket ever, and it seriously is so soft and it's thick, and I love this blanket. It's so cute and cozy, and I pretty much don't even use the covers on my bed when I go to sleep. My husband tries to give me blankets and I'm like, no, and I just kick him away, and I'm like, I want this, and it's too hot to even use this blanket to cover my whole body. I just kind of like have it near me, but I like it for when I'm reading too. It is just so wonderful. The last thing is to tag some people. So I'll go ahead and tag the people that I mentioned, which were Jade from Bedtime Bookworm and Karina from Bookish Babbles. And then I'll also tag Jashana from Jashana C because she's my friend and I love her. But anyway, if you'd like to do this tag, definitely do it. It's a lot of fun. I hope you guys are enjoying your start to the fall season. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you later. Bye.